What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be replacing the transmission fluid and filter in the Malibu. Now I've got 5 quarts here. The total for the car I believe is 7.5, but we're not flushing it, we're only draining the pan, so that should be plenty. If not, I can go get more. I got the Wix filter here, that's the part number. It was about $35. Comes with the gasket and the little ring that goes around there. So let's get started. Okay, I have the car level up. It doesn't look level from this angle, but I was looking at the floor here and it's pretty level. So basically now I need to get a big drain pan underneath here. Don't mind the landscaping in the background. And I need to, since there's no drain plug on the pan, I have to just loosen the bolts until it starts coming out. But what I'm gonna do is unhook the level screw in the side, and fluid should pour out of that until it's almost empty, I'm sure, because you're supposed to take that out while it's running. And if you don't take it out while it's running, fluid's supposed to dump out of it like mad. So I'm gonna try that and see what comes out. And then when it stops, I'll unhook the pan and see how much comes out. Okay, I brought 2 just in case. Got this big one so I can catch stuff that leaks in multiple areas. And this one if I need another one. They're nasty on the inside, so yeah. Maybe I should wipe it out so we can see if there's any metal flakes or stuff. Fingers crossed there isn't. Alright, so the plug is right there. That's the little screw that you're supposed to check the level with. So I'm gonna undo that and make it into this pan, which I did wipe out. I'm gonna do that first, and then we can wait till that drains out and do the pan. There's just a whole bunch of little bolts, maybe 8mm. They don't look like 10, and then it should just drop down. And the filter should be like, I think right here. I don't know, it's like an L, I believe. This plug here to check the fluid level, that is an 11mm. Just gonna have to try to take this out without getting fluid all over me. Not really possible from this angle. There you go. It was possible. Looks like there's a little magnet on there. I don't see anything on the magnet. Fluid looks good. Smells interesting. Yeah, that's a magnet. Just gonna let that drain. Also, the car is cold right now. See the exhaust? Don't do it when it's hot because this fluid is extremely flammable, and if it hits the exhaust, it could just burst into flames. Just a tip. Plus, you won't burn yourself. So I'm just gonna let it do its thing and then come back. Alright, so it pretty much stopped dripping, so I put the plug back in. And now we're going to start taking the pan out. I'm going to start with one side, take out the middle bolts, and then loosen them each on one side and more on the other so it starts dripping out. And then once it's pretty much all the way dripped out, we'll take it completely off. That way it doesn't spill everywhere. Take a look at the fluid that came out. It's just old. Smells alright. Well, let's get the rest out. And the pan bolts are all 8mm. Alright, so here's the pan, this L-shaped. Or it kind of looks like a stocking. I'll start by taking out these, and the ones in the middle over there, and the middle down here. And then we'll start taking out the end ones until fluid comes out. Then we'll let it drain. There it goes. No. Naturally. I guess having a gigantic drain pan didn't help at all. That's nice. When that fell, it hit the edge of the drain pan and all the fluid from the transmission went on the ground. And then it fell off the edge and hit the fluid in the transmission pan and shot it onto me. Covered my arm completely. Good thing I'm wearing this giant suit, otherwise my clothes would be soaked, but it covered this. Hit my face, luckily not a lot, and it's all over the ground. It's dry right there because that's where I was sitting. That gasket was so on there that I had to yank on it with my hands, and then all this happened. Here's the pan. This is the magnet. And it's got some metal on it, but it's not crazy, that's normal. For 171,000 miles, I don't think it's ever been changed. Maybe once when it was new, like 100,000 mile mark or something. But yeah, it's actually not that bad. And the fluid color isn't even that bad either. It's a little brown, but it's still got red to it. I don't know. We'll see once we chuck the new stuff in. Got the pan all cleaned up. Took the magnet off and washed it. Look at it, it's a bendy magnet. It's interesting. I'm gonna spray everything down with air, make sure there's no lint in it, and then chuck it back together. I have everything laid out here, how it's gonna go. I have the filter, the little ring that I have to push into the transmission. I have to take the old one out with a pick, and the gasket. And the old gasket was metal with rubber around it, and this is just rubber. So I'm not sure if that's better. Doesn't seem like it, but it's new, that's old. It'll work. This is also Wix, it's supposed to be really good, and it had 5 stars, and the other one was like $15 cheaper, and it had 3.5 stars, so why risk it? So I just did this one. Let's take the old filter out and get this old ring out and throw the new stuff in. This is going to be a mess. I already know it. Oh, jeez. I was not expecting that, honestly. Right under my watch band, too. There's the old filter. The fluid coming out looked pretty sparkly, which is very not great. On this, I can't show you this because it's mixed with dirt and brake clean and junk from the pan. But here's the filter. I mean, the fluid. When it dries out, I can cut it open and see if I can see anything. I mean, right there's the actual material. Let's get the old O-ring out and put the new stuff in. This is the old gasket in there. This ring right here, that's where the filter goes. Okay, so what you're gonna wanna do is take a pick like this and just try to pull on it till it comes out. And I'm gonna do that with both hands because I have a pan underneath me and I don't want it to let loose and me splooge into the pan. So yeah, I'll get back to you when that's out. Okay, so what I did is I had to end up sticking a screwdriver right on the edge of the lip here and hammering it to bend this enough to where it would relieve the pressure and I could yank it out. I also had to do that on our 2009 Suburban transmission whenever I did the filter, fluid and filter. But and then I hooked the hook right on this lip and it came right out. So yeah, there's that. I'm gonna make sure to clean all this, at least right here, up, maybe dab some of that, and then we can throw the new one in. I can tell you one thing for sure. It's definitely sparkly. Show you this up close. Oh boy. That's fun. Some pretty big chunks too. Maybe some of that came out of off of the pan whenever I undid it. Knock on wood. Whoa, that looks crazy. Well, we're gonna pretend like we didn't see that and get everything back together. I got the new gasket thing in there. All I did was I took the rubber end of this mallet and I held it in place and slowly tapped it until I could just tap it with this, and it went in perfectly flush. All right, now I'm gonna put the filter in. And I'm just going to lightly put it in place. Make sure it's in all the way so it doesn't cause issues. Whoops, my finger was there. All right, now I'm just gonna wipe up the sealing edge. That's just gonna continue to drip. Not sure where it's coming from. I'm pretty sure the valve bodies for these is up here on the side, and it could be draining from that, or that could be draining from the torque converter. Either way, that's still draining, and it's making a giant mess, more than it already was. But anyways, I'm going to clean up the surface, and then we can chuck the pan and gasket on. Okay, I have all the mating surfaces cleaned up. Now I'm going to place the pan in place. Get a bolt through at least one of them, or two. Make sure the gasket doesn't go elsewhere. Well, I just recorded putting this back on and putting the gasket in place and making sure everything was all good, as well as the filter, and it didn't record it. So sorry, but I thought I was recording and I looked back and it wasn't. Oh yeah, sometimes it glitches like that. It's really frustrating. But I'm gonna torque them. Each one is 108 inch-pounds. And it didn't say a pattern, so I'm just gonna, do like a little cross action. Make sure they're all at 108 inch-pounds. Got the torque wrench set to 108 inch-pounds. 8mm. Let's get cracking. Okay. It's recording this time. Okay, everything's all torqued down here. I'm going to make sure that little plug is plugged up there, and then we'll start adding fluid. All right, so I measured the fluid out of that pan. We got around 5 quarts out of it, maybe a little less. So I'm gonna start by adding 4 quarts. We're gonna run it, get it up to temp, shift through every gear while it's parked, and then I'm going to check it. And if nothing comes out, I'll add another quart and just keep it open and see if, as I'm adding it, if it comes out, that's perfect. I'll stop adding it, seal it up, and we'll call it good. All right, so the little fill hole is way down here. There's the cap. And I'm going to use this fancy funnel thing. Screws onto the container, and then there's a little valve here. You just turn it on once it's upside down, and it all shoots out. So I'm going to demonstrate that. Now turn this on, and it all shoots out. It's like there was some in the tube residually from last time, and I got it on the top of the transmission. You can see the level right here too. You know what, I'm just gonna leave this here. Oh wait, that doesn't work. I can't turn the new can upside down. Okay. Definitely gonna need some cloths. All right, now I can screw the cap on. Clean up my little mess down here. Yeah, that's probably gonna be a little burn off smell. Okay, now what I forgot to say is you need to be checking for leaks while you're doing this. I don't see anything coming from the pan or dripping, so that's good. All right, now let's start it, warm it up, see what happens. All right, here we go. I'm gonna put my foot on the brake since it's up on jack stands. Feels like it's shaking. Oh, you know what? That might be because it's on jack stand, so I can feel all the vibrations. Reverse. I'll do it for 5 seconds. Neutral, 5 seconds. Drive for 5 seconds. I'm gonna do each one of these gears for 5 seconds. Okay, let's check the level. It's going to be warm down here too now, so I gotta watch out for that. Don't see any leaks besides the one from the exhaust, the water. Why does it look like that? Oh yeah, there's a small exhaust leak. I don't know if that's supposed to be there. That dent's not, but it's not coming from the dent. I think that's just for water leaking out like that. Condensation. Okay, well, let's check this fluid level. The plug is out. Nothing's coming out, so we need to add some more. All right, I went and picked up 2 more bottles of ATF. This should be plenty. Let's put one in and see what happens. Here we go again. You gotta start it. Let it idle down. Shift through all the gears, and then we'll pull the plug again. Okay, we have positive drippage. So that's good. I'm gonna shove the plug back in it, and then we can shut her down. Okay, now let's back it down. I already removed the jack stands from the back. Right now it's just up on the ramps. Seems to shift just fine. Actually goes backwards pretty quick. Now I need to clean up my mess. That's lovely. It's gonna be a giant stain in the concrete too because it's not sealed. Oh well, the vehicle's always parked here anyway. I completely forgot to film the test drive. My mom was with me. I think that's why I forgot, but I will film tomorrow driving. It went smooth, shifting just fine, nice and smooth. Did some full throttle pulls all up to 65. Everything was good. There go the lights. But yeah, it's pretty good. There was a weird thing that happened right before I got home. I was at a light and there was a manual Cummins next to me that was really loud. And I went to go, and I wasn't going, like, starting off slow. I was going, like, I could say half throttle maybe, if that. And he hit the gas, and I couldn't hear, but the car went it like made this heavy grinding noise, and it like shook, and I can't tell if it was the wheel slipping because the road was kind of rough right there, or something horrible happening. But it didn't do it again, and it was fine after that. So I have no idea. It scared me and my mom. We were like, what was that? But it's all good now. So we'll see you tomorrow. Drive it 30 minutes into town. See how it goes. It ended up taking 7 quarts of transmission fluid. So it basically drained the entire thing, which is crazy. So I'd say almost all of the fluid has been replaced. And this is Max Life Full Synthetic Dextron 6, or Dexron 6. I use the Max Life because it has extra stuff in it for high mileage. All right, everyone, it's been a few days since I did it. And yesterday I was driving it. I drove it about 30 minutes into town. Stop and go, like almost every single light. And I was giving her the beans sometimes, and it felt amazing, shifting better than ever. It felt faster, honestly. I don't know if it was just allowing more full power or whatnot, but it felt great. And then I got home and I went out again, and on my way back, like 5 minutes from home, it started shifting really hard again. And it happened after it went to shift from first to second. There was like a full second gap in between the gears. It was like, and then it decided to start shifting hard. So I scanned the codes, and it was the code for the pressure solenoid and the temperature sensor. So I erased it last night, went on another drive, came back, and there were 11 codes for the transmission. Scanned them, and it was just a whole bunch of random ones ranging from the ECU or the TCM isn't programmed to the temperature sensor. So I don't know if there's something wrong with the TCM or the actual transmission. So I need to research that and try and figure it out, because to take the valve body or the cover for the valve body off of this transmission, I'm not sure if I'm going to have to pull it out of the car or not, because it's very big and hard to get to. actually was able to cure this issue with this Seafoam Trans Tune bottle for $16. Not even lying. I thought I videoed it, but I cannot find the video. I went and it was still having the hard shift every once in a while. It was definitely not as bad as before, and it was shifting great compared to before. And I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna have to go through all this, it could be a bad transmission, it could be a bad valve body, and usually that means you just gotta replace the whole thing unless somehow the valve body fix will work. So I was doing some research and I found this Trans Tune stuff, and I was like, you know what, it's worth a shot. I mean, what harm could it do? So I went to AutoZone while it was having that weird hard shift issue, and I bought the bottle and I poured the entire thing in the transmission. I think it's a quart, whole thing went in. And the second I started driving it, it already felt a little bit more smooth, and it's still shifting a tiny bit harsh, but the second I drove it around for like 10-15 minutes, it completely went away and it never came back. And I drove it for 15,000 miles till I sold it. No issues at all. It still to this day doesn't have any issues, and it almost has 200,000 miles now. If your Malibu is having this issue of hard shifting and you're getting these codes and it's saying it's the valve body or something like that, at least try this first. And it's $15. I mean, might as well. If it fixes your issue, then that would be awesome. But I thought I videoed it. I didn't, so that's why I'm doing this voiceover. I also can't find that I made an outro. So the issue with waiting so long to edit my videos, but I hope you all enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. I'm going to be doing some cool stuff to this car, and I hope everyone is excited for it as much as I was, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day or night. Peace out.